It's the final match of the day and the final match of Group A. It's going to be Japan up against Chinese Taipei to decide which of these teams will be eliminated today and which of these teams will be making it through to the final day on Sunday. Very exciting stuff, Derek.
Yes, it is. Sorry, I was just getting the sound twice because yes, entirely my fault. It is going to be a very exciting last game of Hearthstone here and an exciting couple of days. Japan, I think, is a team that proved themselves very, very well this year in Hearthstone Grandmasters after Alu Timu in particular had a very, very strong couple of runs through Hearthstone Grandmasters Season 1 and 2. In my opinion, definitely one of the top 3 or 4 best playing players, if not best performing players in terms of their results. And Glory as well was absolutely no slouch. And now, of course, with Glory and Possessi joining us in Hearthstone Grandmasters for next year, they've got even more chance to show their stuff as one of the premier Asia Pacific teams.
Excellent. Well, let's see if they can make it through to the final day here at the Hearthstone Global Games. Up against Arena, who has brought the Hunter. We saw this played a little bit earlier. And it's not Hunter like you're used to seeing on the ladder if you've been playing recently. We have this brand new Face Hunter deck that's been making the rounds with the quest, which spits out Leopard all over the place. That's not what this is. I believe when deck submissions happened for this event, that deck hadn't been conceived yet.
Yeah, there were some builds of the deck floating about. Like I was playing a version of Face Hunter on day one, which was like
Of course you were, Derek.
Yeah,
of course you were.
Well, I mean, mine was absolutely blooming awful. I don't claim to be the creator of this new version at all. I was playing like a dragon version with the corrosive breath and Stormhammer. And, it was okay. I wasn't losing that many ranks with it, at least not as many as with my other decks that I was playing on day one. But it definitely feels like you said, the new additions that people like Viper have been pioneering. I think Ball Control had a hand in it as well. With the side quest, of course, Toxic Reinforcements, being able to give you huge amounts of damage in addition to not really running very many minions at all, actually. Just relying purely on good old-fashioned Face Hunter damage. I think it's a very, very strong deck indeed, and despite my ragings on it on our Discord, I think it's not that bad for the game either. But this version, as we can see, a more old-school mech version of Hunter, has pretty much completely fallen by the wayside. I think with the idea being, it's not that powerful of a board control deck. It struggles to fight back against Rogue and Shaman early on, and actually lock down the board. And if it can't lock down the board early on, then it really struggles to deliver face damage. It doesn't actually have that many burn spells at all, not even running Kill Command, which is a classic Face Hunter card.
On the flip side, if it can lock down the board, if it can get that early lead, it can spit out more and more and more damage throughout the game.
Oh, yes. And don't get me wrong, it's not like it's impossible to seize early game board control, even against the more tempo-based decks. If you can get early Galvanizers down, Fireworks Tech, getting a nice Battle Cry, Death Rattle and a buff, sorry. It's a very, very powerful deck indeed in the early game, but you do have to hit those nice magnetizing combo hands to make that work.
I was a little surprised not to see the Fireworks Tech into the Mekaru there for the value trade and the extra 1/1 on the board. The value trade into Thekal, I mean. I guess he's playing around Pyromancer or Consecration by doing it this way and just sinking in the damage.
Yeah, I think this makes a nice forked attack, right? Where with 2 powerful Death Rattles on the board, if the Ursatron survives, fantastic. He gets to double Fireworks Tech on that for a couple of extra cards. And if it doesn't, then consolation prize of making a couple of 1/1s is not bad at all. Ooh, the combo already in hand, ready to go for Arena. It's definitely one of the things I am most infuriated by in all of Hearthstone is Venomizer plus the missile launcher, because every time it happens, I'm like, oh, why didn't I remember that that's a thing that can happen? It's so annoying. And then every time I forget the next time, and then I always lose to it, and it's so bloomin' annoying.
Let me think.
Glory definitely is looking like he's got ways to quite efficiently clear this whole board, but it's just trying to work out which method he wishes to take here. I mean, gotta admit, just having Kangor there with Flash of Light in hand, it looks great.
That's true, yeah.
But maybe equality is necessary this turn.
I was looking at if you ever go for Holy Wrath on this turn on the 6/6, because you're guaranteed to be able to clear it off at the very least, if not find anything better. Instead, he's just choosing to leave up the 6/6, which is a plan that I can respect as well, because he gets the 8 heal, so it more than cancels out. Could just be a simple play of Spider Bomb magnetized on and then Fireworks Tech to kill a minion, spawn a 1/1, keep the damage rolling face.
Ooh, I wonder what this
And as so often is the case with Mech Bomb Hunter, the simplest play is the correct one. It really is the Occam's Rexar of Hearthstone decks.
Occam's Rexar.
Yeah. It was terrible, I apologize.
Well, Glory down to 18 health. Still has the equality and still has Kangor, though. I mean, equality doesn't quite allow him to deal with everything just yet, but leaving just a 1/1 or a couple of 1/1s on the board is not the end of the world.
I think you're probably going to take that. The only other alternative, I suppose, being Timeout here, which... you know, given that Narina definitely appears to be running out of juice, using Timeout just to buy an extra turn rather than to use it, like, at the final hurdle, I think is a very reasonable way to go about things. Ooh. So how many 1/1s does this spawn now? It's still only 1, right? And there's no replicating menace or anything magnetized on.
No, I believe it is just the one. The only death
Yeah.
threat is the Mecharoo. It's only had a Venomizer magnetized onto it.
And Spider Bomb. So it would destroy it
Yes,
more.
yes.
That's fine.
It's definitely a big old 1/1. Oh, there's a War Gear to make it even bigger. Not that that's necessary at the moment due to the timeout. However, Missile Launcher just looks amazing.
Yeah. I'm not really seeing much else. It feels bad, of course, because you, to an extent, because you are definitely expecting this to be answered in one way or another, be it through, you know, Subdue, Equality, Shrink Ray, whatever. There should be an answer. But maybe there's a slim chance that you're able to sneak this 13 through. So the obvious initial play is Pyro Equality, just leaves a 1/1 on the board, but you're not too afraid of that. It's a bit annoying because even a 1/1 mech can stack up quite quickly with Magnetize, exactly.
But, I mean, Glory's hand is starting to shape up quite nicely. Prismatic Lens will fill it up a little bit more. Timeout, obviously, when necessary, will just save him another turn. Sathrova is there for as soon as Shivala's drawn. When Shivala is drawn, this game pretty much ends.
Yeah, it really does. So maybe by that metric, then, if you can't clear off the 1/1, it should just be Prismatic Lens plus Timeout.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't hate that, actually.
The more I'm looking at this, the more I prefer that. However, Pyromancer Equality is going to be thrown down. Honestly, it's unlikely that this backfires. Like, a single 1/1, so we can see the War Gear in hand. That's pretty much the worst case scenario here. It becomes a 6/6 again, and 8 damage is dealt.
I guess the benefit of holding on to Timeout, because obviously there's very little charge minions in the deck, but I'm not even sure if there's a Leroy in this version. Okay, there's a Leroy, which is like, it's pretty much as bad as it gets in terms of burst damage from charge. The real benefit of Timeout, as I see it, is you can use it when there's a board full of bombs and then wipe them out, and you don't take any of the death rattle damage, I suppose. So, best you're going to get off of that. But as he said, now for glory, it's just a case of finding some heal before the hero powers whittle him down.
Just like flying a rocket.
Zephyrus not active as of yet, so not a game over situation yet for glory, because I think Zephyrus here would probably be able to lock him into a victory one way or the other.
What is that for us doing here, though? Actually, like pretty much just a flame strike, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Let
Well,
me.
yes,
Like,
yeah,
I
I
don't
was
think there's
imagining
any
next
way
turn
of
with
locking
Tyrion.
out without healing.
Yeah, sure,
So-
sure, sure.
I still like the look of the timeout prismatic lens play. That's still an option here. Lens first, obviously.
Do we like that more than double conk? I guess, yeah, you know, if you need to clear off a wide board. I'm just not really sure what you're afraid of at this point. It's only
It's only
Flark.
Leroy, isn't it?
Yeah,
Master
Leroy.
Flark is the way of dealing damage in the long run, I guess. But
Yeah.
you're right. There's no immediate lethal here. Leroy plus hero power is 8 damage. That's not lethal.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, thinking about it with stuff like Snip Snap that's very sticky and difficult to get rid of, holding onto the timeout just means that even if you're facing something like that, you can still just ignore it and push a lot face. Oh, and sorry, keep drawing to get the damage through to face. Gear, probably what I'm looking at. And then you can play everything this turn. I guess you have to skip the hero power then, which is probably not something you're willing to do because you're kind of relying on Leroy off the top. Not explicitly, but that's probably your best chance. In which case, hero power galvanizer war gear.
Quickly.
All charged up.
Okay. Wants to save the war gear for the most burst damage possible.
Oh, okay. Well, now it's gotta be lens timeout time, surely.
You can just start with the lens, I think, yeah, and then...
I want Shrivala, Derek.
Don't we all? I mean, maybe he starts with Holy Wrath face. Who knows? He has a chance to just win the game. It's not negligible. Right, there we go.
Zeph active. I mean, you time out this turn and then Prismatic Lens next turn, and then you've got Shivala. And if you haven't got Shivala, you Holy Wrath the face,
Yeah.
because then you just win.
Can he manipulate it to give Radiance here and go like
Okay.
timeout Zephyrus Radiance? Just to give him a bit of extra survivability, because
Yep.
that's all he needs really. Like, he doesn't care about clearing, it's just healing that he wants at this point.
I do like the sound of that. It looks like that's what he's found. Yep, Zephyrus being played. 1 mana remaining, that is going to be Radiance.
I mean,
Or
again,
Healing
I guess we
Touch.
could see Healing Touch instead, yeah.
No, gonna just spend the mana this turn.
Ooh, snippety snappity. Starting to get at least a little bit scary until Zephyrus is found. Sorry, until Shivala's found.
Shivala, yeah.
These blooming mythical names, I tell you.
But I feel like this is the turn, isn't it? Like it's like, as I said before, you play the
Yeah.
Prismatic Lens. If you whiff on the Shivala there, then you've just got a 1 in... A 50-50 for lethal, is it? No, it's a 1 in 3 for lethal.
Yeah.
So,
But even then, even if there's a big development onto the board here, Shrink Ray,
it would be a
Pyro
50-50.
into Prismatic Lens is just pretty much a sweep clear.
Draw 1, draw 2 with Lens, and then
Yeah.
presumably get Shivala. He would have to be really unlucky if Shivala is the absolute bottom card on the deck.
You would indeed.
So we are now looking at essentially a 1 in 5 to lose the game.
Right,
Oh,
there we
never
go.
Shivala into South Rover is looking like that does tie the knot on this one.
Bish bash bosh. Yeah, I guess it doesn't take many. It doesn't actually take much attack off the board because of all the 1/1s, but that's really the least of your concern when you're healing for like 21 damage.
Absolutely.
Split your soul apart.
Or as much as 30 will allow you to heal.
As your metal.
And again, now it becomes the case that Narina's real concern is just the fact that he's gonna die probably from all these Shivalas, let alone the Holy Wrath that can come off the top.
I wonder.
Narina just is looking pretty discontent with this hand, and with good reason. It's not quite getting there. War Gear plus Leroy is usually good damage, but not enough, and then seed. First game gets taken by the OTK Paladin from Japan. Japan are 1 game down, 2 to go to make their way into the finals of the Hearthstone Global Games.
Yeah, looking pretty good there. I think that was a pretty clean game they had, to be honest. It was really just a very linear game plan, as you always get from the hunter, the mech hunter at least, where you just stack mech, you build a big Lego structure, and then your little brother comes and kicks it down, this time in the form of a Shivala.
Back.
Well, Narina has now decided to claim his free win by queuing Shaman. However, Possessi on the rogue. This is the rogue that we have been talking about all day. Let's see it in action again.
We have indeed. Let's take a look at his particular build, because we haven't actually got to see it all too much so far. He's going for the list that I was playing on ladder at first, which is like very, very all in on the combo. This is not a list where you can afford to miss either Apothecary or Anchor the Buried into reducing the Anubis Warbringers down to 1, because there is no Edwin, there is no Miscreant in the deck. This is very all in on making sure you hit the buff with Necrium Apothecary. So for the moment, for Possessi, this is not a winning hand. This is decent. You know, this can prolong him into the later stages of the game. And as always, I look like an idiot. There's the Necrium Apothecary. That's what Possessi needed. This hand went from 0 to 60 in like 0.1 seconds.
Love it when a plan comes together.
I wonder what you soon.
Yeah, that's what was needed. Now Possessi, all he needs to do is to not draw both Warbrings. Funnily enough. They're really going for the evil totems in his list. A very unfashionable inclusion in the Shaman deck list. I think most people have come to the conclusion that you can just do more busted stuff, generally, with Shaman. You want to be drawing cards rather than generating cards with this deck, which I think is true.
Yeah. It is funny to sort of have this window back in time, even just a week, at what the decks were like back then.
Yeah, it's true.
It's crazy how quickly things change. And I'm even taking the nerfs aside there. Like, even before the nerfs, things had changed.
It's like looking at your high school pictures and you're like, oh god, really? That haircut? How did I ever think that was good?
Yep.
Evil totem. Oof.
Hey, I mean, I look at myself in the mirror and I think that, so...
Oh no, wait, this is the part where I say, no, you have great hair, Falk.
Got it, it was in the script.
Yeah,
All right.
nailed it.
So, Evil Totem damaged but not destroyed. So Narina is going to be able to take advantage of that now, place the second one, or even just buff up the current one, knowing that Possessi's struggling to deal with it.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting dynamic. I think I'd probably like to just see the second Evil Totem. Just start developing more lackeys, because even if he kills off one, it's kind of like, so what? You can just play all 3 of your lackeys on the following turn.
There is little time.
Very true. Well, no, you're going to go with the protection route instead, though.
Yeah,
That's really greedy. That's what that is.
Yeah, it allows him to go second Evil Totem plus lackey on the following turn. It's fine. might equal more generation in the long run.
Unfortunately for Possessi, there is nothing to do this turn. And that's a good draw and a bad draw, right? It's a
Yeah.
good draw because of Anchor. It's a bad draw because if the second one is drawn, then that Apothecary does nothing. But then even if the second one was drawn, then Anchor is just insane. So I guess it's just fine.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like Calpol, like a little bit's good, but too much and it can get dangerous. And Nubasath, Warbringer, it's great because, like you said, Anchor gets to reduce it down, and with the Necrium Vial as well, this is looking like a disgustingly powerful hand for Possessi. All he needs to find is some actual minions to buff with all of this nonsense, like that.
Green mix red mean noodle.
All right, the question that always rocks around of how important... Oh, well, actually, I was going to say how important is it to kill off the Necrium Apothecary. He can't even do that, even if he wanted to. So it's not even something to consider at the moment. That was a kind of interesting play to go for the Slurper, though, there, right? Because now he can't play one of his 3 5-drops that he has in hand next turn. I don't think I like that. Like, his turn was not particularly strong outside of that, but just to go Lackey plus Electra as a 3/3, I think was a bit stronger there.
Right, so
Alrighty.
Anchor definitely looking good as long as Possessi isn't worried about being lethaled next turn.
Yeah. I wonder if you just go for the Necrium Vial on this turn. Like, we could see Vial this turn, and then, I don't know, Faceless Corruptor next turn with the Pirate, I suppose, as well.
It's
Just feels a
really
bit
interesting
quicker.
because the problem with playing Vial this turn is that then when you anchor, both of the 9/9s,
That's true.
both
Yeah,
the
that's a
9-mana
good
minions that have
point.
been buffed become 1/1s again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is a little greedier, but pays off much, much better.
Sure. And I guess against this deck, you're not really afraid of burst damage, so taking it a little greedier, I'm happy with this. I think you're right in this instance. Obviously looking at a slightly weaker turn for Narina, given that he doesn't have the full 5 mana to be working with. But I guess just like a quad Lackey turn is pretty powerful still in its own right.
Clear the path. Clear the path.
There is little time.
Again, it's not much pressure, but it's just trying to lock down this board as much as possible for Narina until he can get those powerful plays with Galakrond coming later on. But now for Possessi, this is just starting to get ludicrous levels of power.
It really does
Very,
look like
very
Possessi's
quickly.
power plays are coming first, doesn't it? When we
Yeah. Oh.
That was weird. The animation didn't hit the Anubis. Did you see that?
Did it not?
Yeah.
I'm going blind in my old age.
Either way, that was just a 1-mana 7/7, and there's another one where that came from. The only downside to this, I suppose, that no charges have been hit by that Death Rattle.
This poor Anubisath Warbringer feels like it's had all kinds of horrible genetic experiments forced upon it. Like it's become a 1/1 down from a 9/7 and then 1 mana back up to a 7/7.
It's not so bad.
It's like a super soldier in like an 80s movie that gained superhuman powers but forgot how to be human.
How about a new eye? How about
I'm just full of awful analogies.
All right, well, there you go.
Oh yeah, it didn't buff it. You're
See, look,
right.
it's
That
gonna,
was
yeah,
weird.
it's gonna do it again.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Literally game-breaking. Unplayable.
Unplayable. That is a 17/16 Faceless Corruptor. I thought that card was nerfed.
Lol. Alright, it's starting to look a little bit scary for Possessy, but a 5/12 is laughable when compared to what this rogue can do.
Oh, that is utterly filthy.
Please nerf this to a 4/4, that would fix it.
I mean, 5 mana 17/16. Sorry, 5 mana for 2 17/16s. That's power creep.
That is absolutely absurd. Every day we stray further from God's light.
Right. Back to reality. Does Narina have a way to deal with this? Invocation of Frost will freeze one of these minions.
Yeah.
What about the rest?
But he's not dead, I guess, on the backswing is the good news, if you want to call it that. So yeah, freeze one, taunt something up, I guess, to try and make sure he doesn't die. Because of course, for all he knows, there's a Stone Tusk Boar or Leroy or Deckhand in hand to just kill him off on the following turn.
always little time?
So I guess the game plan is make sure that Galakron is sufficiently juiced up so that if it comes down on the following turn, or if Dragon Pack comes down on the following turn to go with the Electra, he's able to stall things sufficiently enough. So I like making sure he invokes twice. Yeah, it's just about putting as many taunts in the way as possible and trying to chip his way through to lethal.
Oh!
Ooh.
Okay, well, it's not as amazing as it seems. It just deals with both elementals or both shields, one of which is in the hand, obviously.
Yes.
So 17 damage can go through to the face.
Or does he target his own
So
Corruptor to destroy the ones in Narina's deck? Yeah. That's the play.
One stab, many kills.
Alright, flickety wickety. Insane.
And 17 damage. I think that's only going one way.
This novice is ridiculous.
The novice is ridiculous, and I want to. Oh,
Is he
I was
trading?
wrong. What?
I
What
guess
is
he's
this
just
world?
so likely to get lethal on the following turn anyway.
Sure.
Oh, okay, fair enough, fair enough. Maybe he's just playing around Discovered Bloodlust.
That evil totem was godly.
Yeah, that was the chump block of the century. Oh!
Okay, that solves Narina's problems. There's still a 1 mana 13/13 in the hand. Thank you for horror.
Illegal. Completely illegal.
Oh,
He still has to deal with all these Murlocs, but that is significantly more manageable.
well, Cupboard Lackey will deal with one. Mutate is a card that's not great here. I guess Lackey into Electra into Mutate is playable.
Sure.
What
Yeah, he probably wants to save the Electrolyte to go with Dragon's Pack. Ah, okay.
Okay. Oh, and now suddenly things just aren't looking as good for Possessi. Only
Really?
one overpowered minion.
God, it seems absolutely insane that the Shaman's going to be able to win this.
Yeah, agreed.
I wonder.
Possessi seems to have literally everything going for him this game.
I mean, he got every single good card. Like, that was the nuts opening outside of a Necrian Blade. And from this point on, he's out of death rattles of any kind with both the... sorry, after this Warbringer comes down, he'll be out completely. Because that's the last one he's got. So maybe he wants to save it to go with a Necrian Vial or a Necrian Blade. But that seems a lot worse than just throwing down a 1-mana 13/30.
Speak to me.
Plays around Sludge Slurper off the top by trading into the Murloc, but then decides against it. I guess damage is more important than potential Murlocs coming down. Oof. Although he does instantly get punished for it.
Okay, so just a 13-13 on the board, but as in, that's the only real threat. But not too much going on for Narina at the moment. Still no Galacrons drawn, which is irritating.
Mm. Yes. Alright, just going with the shuttle up, keeping the card draw rolling. I think that it's a pretty safe assumption to say that one Galacron, if drawn, will be able to win the game.
Agreed. Yep. But then if Possessi can... I don't know what Possessi can draw that fills up his hand right now. That's what he needs desperately.
Sure.
There's nothing. There's no way to sacrifice the Anubis-San.
Yeah, it's just too buff to die.
I mean, a second Necrian Vial would be great, but it's not there. It's looking like lights out for Possessi. Which I cannot believe I'm saying after the way this game started.
I kind of can't even agree with you, but you're just right. Even though there's a 13/13, it's just one big dumb minion that can't even do anything.
I mean, 2 6/6s trade into it.
Yeah. Or maybe you just don't even trade into it. Maybe you just let it thwack into random nonsense for the rest of the game.
Trade into everything else, keep the taunt alive.
Oh, just go face. Like, what can the rogue even do?
That's true. No, good point. I mean, it's almost lethal. It's 15 damage
exactly.
Galacrond would be lethal.
That's right. Galacrond off the top ends the game. But he's got 2 chances to get it.
Wait for me! Wait for me!
Choose soon.
Wait for me!
Ooh, it's a big sacrifice to get rid of all these minions in hand when there's an Anubis South on board. But again, what choice do he have?
Dragon's Pack is really nice.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
So I guess Farsight first, try and find that lethal. Otherwise, Dragon's Pack will be acceptable.
I think Dragon's Pact is so good that you don't even bother with that. Like, if you just go for Shield of Galacron Dragon's Pack, I think that wins the game every time.
Okay.
So just, like, make the strongest play you can with that. Yeah, I like this. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think both plays win pretty much every time anyway.
Five minions on the board. Now there is space for Dragon's Pack. And now what are you going to do, Possessi? This deck isn't built to come back from this position.
It is absolutely not. It's meant to run away with the game right at the start and just leave your opponent no wiggle room whatsoever. That's not what it's done here. That's going to be GG, and the Shaman for Narina and Chinese Taipei equalize the game.
I give up.
Or equalize the series, bringing us up to 1 game apiece, which is a big deal. This is the tournament lives here in the Hearthstone Global Games 2019. The winner goes on to Sunday for the semi-finals, and then hopefully for their sake, the finals. But the loser, unfortunately, is out of here.
Absolutely, Japan did shield the rogue. This rogue has possessed his invention. He built the deck, and unfortunately, it wasn't able to take down the Shaman. Will Japan eventually get a win with the rogue and maybe get through to tomorrow, or will Chinese Taipei put a stop to Japan and in fact instead be the team that gets through to Sunday? We'll find out after this break. Welcome back to the Hearthstone Global Games. It's Chinese Taipei against Japan. The score is 1-1, so this could go any way right now. Win and in the final day, lose and out. This is what it's all about.
That was a great little rhyme there, Falco.
That wasn't meant to rhyme.
That.
No, it wasn't meant to rhyme. That was.
You're a
that was
poet and you don't
unfortunate.
even know it.
But hey, look at this. Coin Apothecary. That looks good.
Wow, he's pretty good at this deck. No wonder he thinks it's good if he can do this every flipping game. Yeah, it's a very nice start. The one Anubisath Warbringer as well is obviously not that bad again, but he doesn't have Anchor this time, so it's kind of just meh.
No, that's true. Always time to draw that though. And honestly, coin into Apothecary in itself is just amazing.
It really is, and it's not a bad hand to buff as well. Like keep the card draw rolling with the Acolyte of Pain, and even just the damage from the Stone Tusk Boar is perfectly all right.
This is quite tricky. A 3-mana 4/4 is not bad for next turn, though.
I think it's probably Ziliax.
It's probably Ziliax. I'm just staring at the curve here, and like Replicating
Yeah.
Menace can't be played next turn, and there already is one, so it's kind of irrelevant.
Wait, can it
Ziliax.
not? Why can't it be played next turn?
Oh, sorry, no, it is the 4-mana turn next turn. Oh, my mistake. Never mind then. My issue with Ziliax is that it's competing with Wargear for the 5-mana slot.
I guess so. Yeah, like even if you're not playing on 5, I think it's just like the best card. Like a 3-mana 4/4 rush is like incredibly powerful, obviously, but Ziliax, when magnetized on, is just so absurdly powerful. Even if you ignore the lifesteal, just the Divine Shield is nuts.
Yeah. Clearly, Narina is also struggling with this decision, though, as he does elect to go for the Replicating Menace, really, the one that we weren't entirely sold on at all. But I guess more magnetizing, the better. It's hard to justify that one.
Yeah, it's kind of the most aggressive option, right? Because it's 3 magnetized damage for 4 mana, as opposed to 5 mana. And again, if you're at full health, then the lifesteal doesn't make all too much difference, as well as obviously the 1/1s that come with it. So I'm perfectly fine with this play he's gone for. I was just thinking that like if you have a nice big minion and you're having to trade into big stuff, Divine Shield can make all the difference in the world. Oh man, it's just getting better and better now though for Possessi. I think that a big buff Ziliax on its own should probably be able to win the game.
So Replicating Menace does trade very nicely with the Acolyte. I mean, as does the Wargear. I guess the issue is that Narina doesn't really want the Apothecary to die, but there's no way to avoid that from where I'm sitting.
I'm trying to justify anything other than just Wargear on this turn because the play looks pretty clearly to be like Wargear this turn, and then Replicating Menace plus the Fireworks tech on the following turn, and then obviously just keep all this damage coming to the face. At the very least, this maybe forces Possessi to not go for Necreum Vial, because he may come to the decision that it's too much damage coming through. But I mean, even having said that, I think he probably will end up going for the Necreum Vial here, because just a big Ziliax to follow up after, I think, just wins the game. And 10 damage on 6 mana is a very, very tall order.
So many
Yeah.
options.
Well. Well.
How much damage can he actually get here? He gets an additional 3, and then up to 4, and then up to 6. So I guess he's got 6 extra damage he can push through with the Fireworks tech here. Plus the
I'm just
Replicating
looking
Menace.
at Leroy Stone to spawn next turn. That's 19
Yeah,
damage.
that's
If
a
he
good
trades in the
point.
Apothecary first, you know, that's 25 damage.
25 damage. That's insane.
Ziliax also is just insane. Like, Ziliax single-handedly brings the game back from the brink if Possessi is almost killed this turn.
Does indeed.
Ooh, I wonder what this does.
All right, splitting things up, making it a bit harder for Ziliax to get the necessary value if he does have it in hand.
But it just doesn't matter. It's so big.
It is very large. Narina like, oh, my opponent has cards. Damn it, I knew they had that.
including this 12, 11 Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal minion. Sorry,
And then I guess
Rush,
you go-
Divine Shield, Taunt, Lifesteal.
Yeah, Boar and then charge face with that as well, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So if Narina, even if Narina had poisonous, I guess Spider Bomb Fireworks tech would be like the dream for Narina now. But given that he doesn't have either of those
Yeah.
cards, it's not
I think
quite
given that
good.
even then he doesn't die, you're just allowed to push this Boar face.
Yeah. Even Silence plus Leroy wouldn't do it.
I guess you can say he has so much damage on board that he doesn't even need to worry about that, but I don't know. I just think you can get away with pushing a face. Yeah, I like it. I like it. And now, just getting through the Ziliax alone is a very, very tall order. The War Gear does actually afford him that possibility, so he's not dead on board, at the very least. But given that he has to heal his opponent up to full health in the process, I think we can quite clearly see this one slipping away from Narina.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's been slipped. Does take his second win of the series. Does get the win with the Rogue after all, leaving Japan with only Pirate Warrior. Which means regardless of how this series goes, it's not going to go on for that long.
Yeah, that's right. Up against the Hunter, again, I think is probably the kind of matchup that tends to go in Warrior's favor. I think it's that little bit more aggressive early on, has that little bit more dominance in the early game. Has oh, were we? Was I misanalyzing that one, or did you say Pirate Warrior or Shaman?
I did say Pirate Warrior. That must be my mistake.
I was banned away. I guess we had a graphical error or something.
Okay, never mind then. Well, just the Shaman then, which is arguably even worse for the arena.
Yes, I would definitely agree with that. Shaman up against the Paladin, though. This is a quintessential matchup of this metagame, or at least the mini-meta that we had before the nerfs came in. Now I think it's definitely going to have changed somewhat, because Shaman feels like it's transitioning into more of a control-ish end of the spectrum. Even though it can still be very aggressive with all the pressure it puts on at the start, it's now starting to run Hex and Witch's Brew and stuff like that with all the face hunters knocking about. But in this matchup with the old school unnerfed Shaman, it definitely feels like it can't quite go aggressive enough early on to kill the Paladin towards the start of the game. Once you enter the later stages of the game, every big board you create is just instantly wiped off or just ignored after a timeout is played. And then once the Holy Wrath start coming in, Paladin has no defense whatsoever. Or the Shaman has no defense whatsoever, so.
I hope you like my invention.
It's not the worst start I've ever seen, though, at all for Glory. He has, you know, a bit of invocation to get things rolling with the Frost and then the Corrupt Elemental as well. And then to actually draw the Galakron with the Kronks into Shuttlebook. You know, if he can find one more invocation effect, he will be able to get a 8/8 Galakron coming down in addition to the weapon. And that's the point where I think the Paladin will start to struggle, because the 5/2 weapon that can be played twice with the Shuttlebook as well, it has very limited answers to that.
I mean, honestly, I think having that Kronks there and having the guaranteed Shuttlewalk by around turn 7 is going to make a big difference this game.
For sure. Just look at the curve now. This is like the perfect curve. We've got Maniac on 4, Corrupt Elementalist on 5, Kronks 6, Galakron 7, Coin Shuttlewalk on 8. That's perfect. And Glory ruins it.
Aww.
Come on, man. Even if it wasn't good, you just do it because it's so pretty.
pretty. Now, Glory wants to take full advantage of the unnerfed Corrupt Elementalist. And go ahead and coin that out with exactly 5 mana.
It is a quite absurdly powerful card.
Oh! And now it's a 6/6.
Nutty.
There is little time.
Consecration obviously takes off most of the damage from the board.
Let me think.
I'm feeling like it's probably not quite the time for a shrink ray yet, even though it takes a lot of damage off the board, just because when you're facing down Dragon's Packs and Galakron Elementals later on, you definitely want to have some kind of an answer for that. I mean, another very valid answer here would actually just be to ignore everything and keep drawing. Like, tanking 10 damage once is not really the end of the world.
That's true. It's true. Though Narina disagrees. He's going to deal with 2 of these cards. Oh, just 1, sorry. Acolyte had already attacked. So, it still leaves Glory in a pretty great spot, especially with that Mogu.
Mogu.
Another reminder of how much of a difference that nerf is going to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely night and day. Like, if you played any of the evolved token shaman with Sea Giants, then you'll know exactly how difficult it was to get a Sea Giant on the board compared to a Mogu. Like, 3 mana is light years apart.
Let me think. Let me think.
Do you like to play with fire?
Focusing on the draw here more so than the absolute clearing, which I think, again, I like the look of, just to make sure that you have the ability to answer the bigger minions later on, like these ones.
I can now see this is going to get out of control now. Yes, Narina can clear the board, but then there's going to be 2 8/8s. There's going to be a claw hitting the face. This is going... Well, Glory is going from strength to strength here.
The claw.
I wonder.
All right, 5 mana Sathravar. We'll take that. That does allow for Shivala Sathravar plus Holy Wrath. It's probably not that big of a difference because, again, he's still got both bankers, but could be the difference maker. You never know. Boom! Not much time needed to think about that one. Galakron hits the board, and everything that can go face will go face. There we go. This is the
And
turn
now
for Glory.
Narina is on borrowed time. I think there is a timeout, but then what?
Well, I mean, he's not in the worst situation I've ever seen. Obviously, it's a lot of damage that he's taken, but he's got a fair bit of healing. You know, he can stall out that little bit longer as well. Like, for example, this turn, timeout into Kangor plus Flash of Light allows him to heal up a little bit, heal up more from the Kangor as well.
Okay. Not even going to play a timeout this turn, exactly. So, 11 health. But he knows he's not dead.
He does pretty much know for a fact he's not dead, yeah. Outside of some nonsense with Ethereal Lackey, if that were an Ethereal Lackey.
Right. But now just yet another board that needs to be cleared. There's still a Shrink Ray, but there's no Consecration or Pyromancer to go with it. And the Shrink Ray does cost 9.
It's an active Zephy, though, which you always like to see.
1 mana short to go Zephyrus into Twisting Nether, though.
Yeah.
So are we looking at Zephyrus into Blizz?
I hope you like my invention.
Well, Zephyrus into Nova, if you can manipulate that, would be pretty good.
Pretty underwhelming draw.
Like, for example, Kangor Zephyrus Freeze. Or he could just go for a timeout here as well. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, well, next turn he can play the Twisting Nether, so I guess going
Sure.
with timeout this turn is probably his best shot.
Yeah, I agree. I like this a lot more, actually. Just because he needs to get every board clear he can now that Shrink Ray costs 9. Shadowwalk obviously playable now to re-equip the claw, but I think he's going to realise this is plenty of extension onto the board as it is. Any more would be a bit reckless.
Mortals are so squishy. The storm approaches.
Ooh. Big deal with this Shivala coming down now. Obviously, Shivala Sathrovar. I mean,
Sathrovar only costs 5 as well.
can he
So
actually try
that
and
plus
cheese
Crystal
a
Smith
lethal?
Kangor, that's a full heal, Derek.
It is a full heal, but I'm wondering if he can try and cheese things out with, like, Zephyrus offering freeze. Like, if he was to go Shivala Sathrovar Zephyrus freeze and then trade into everything. Or I guess maybe even not even trade into anything, so Shadowwalk can't have any board space.
Oh, sure.
Probably not, actually. The taunt probably makes it so he can't set up lethal.
Just trying to plan for a lethal, which could happen very soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible he doesn't even have to go for some kind of nonsense like this. He might just win with the combo, given the amount of draw he still has.
I do like my nonsense, though, Derek.
We do love a bit of nonsense here on the old Hearthstone Global Games. Sathrovar's such a cool card.
It's insane how.
Yeah, it really is.
I guess Snip Snap was too, as far as pre-release
True.
stuff. Oh no, Snip Snap wasn't a pre-release card, it was a post-release card, right? It's technically Boomsday.
Yeah.
Marin the Fox wasn't great.
That's what you think. And you are correct. Do you remember when
Right.
everyone was playing that in China, though? It was so weird.
Yes, I do remember that.
And it was just so bad.
All right, so 27 health again. Glory now has his work cut out for him. He would love to just take this series by winning this game. Now he has to rely on Shadowwalk, which will be fine. It will clear the board at least. However, obviously Sathrovar did shuffle another Shivala into the deck. So what Glory needs to do really is keep his health as high as possible. I don't think he can outlive the 2 Holy Wraths.
Whoa, wow, that was some pretty fortunate ordering, not getting any more of the 2-1s. Although, actually, I think that might have been the last one.
I don't think there were any more, yeah.
Right, ignore me then.
Getting the 8/8 with Kronk's effect as well. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, nuts.
Arena already hovering over Shrink Ray. And with Zephyrus as well, I mean, it really is starting to look like Arena's just going to take this one.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a 50% chance to just win right now if he goes for double Holy Wrath. But I think he can definitely get himself a... he he can definitely get himself a better chance than that by just going for timeout and Zephyrus and all that goodness. So the obvious first play I'm thinking about is Zephyrus clear. That feels very, very powerful to me.
Yep.
I suppose it could be Holy Wrath face and then Zephyrus freeze. Would not be the craziest thing I've ever heard.
It offered him a faceless then. I haven't seen that very often.
Well, yeah.
What did I want to copy? The 8-8 rush?
8-10 taunt probably.
Okay.
It was very juicy.
All right, well, now Glory has a good defense, but he needs to be winning the game, not defending himself.
Yeah. And I guess the one saving grace for him is that he's at 26 health with a bunch of taunts in play as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, therefore maybe he can wrestle things back. That's a lifesteal as well. Hey, that's pretty good.
And Zeph has been used up.
Yes, exactly. All right, Chevalim being found. It's a little annoying, I guess, but not too bad. How do we turn this, like, 90% game into a 100% here for Narina? What does just Shrink Ray do on this turn? He has to tank 7 damage plus the 5, so 12 damage. That's fine, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 25 health. You're not concerned at all. There's not been any ethereal lackeys.
Yeah,
You know
the
there's no
board looked
bloodlust.
pretty nice
Great.
too, yeah. There's not even any ability to generate a lackey to find bloodlust with no board space.
Exactly.
Gets himself another far sight, which is a nice consolation prize, I suppose. But it ain't game winning, I'll tell you that for free.
Behold!
So all he needs to do is to survive one more turn, because if he survives this turn, he can then go timeout and then go for one go with the Holy Wrath, and then do that again the following turn.
Yeah, and that
So I think
seems
just going
likely.
for Flash of Light on his face here, and then just leave his opponent board locked,
Yeah.
I think just locks out the game.
Oh.
I'm almost out of cards.
Oh, okay, sure, because the timeout prevents the lifesteal from going off anyway.
Oh,
So
right.
I think this is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
solved,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Sure. Yeah, I was confused by that for a second as well. But this, I agree, also locks the game.
Job's done. Behold!
Yeah, literally nothing can be done there. No actions even possible for Glory. You see that in a
Well,
game of Hearthstone.
That was an unexpected turn of events, but it looks like Narina is going to take the second game of the series. We are going all the way to Game 5 for the first time today. Chinese Taipei and Japan are really going to fight it out and nail to see which one of them can make it through. And I'm excited. It's going to be Hunter up against Shaman next, Eric.
Yeah, I think a matchup that I definitely like the look of Shaman here. If this was a slightly newer version of the Face Hunter as opposed to Mech Hunter, I think it would be a little bit more even, because then you're looking at just the potential for good old-fashioned cheese, getting yourself through with the win there, going for a nice big Unleash the Hounds to get a bunch of damage, or of course, just the pure face damage that the Face Hunter can deliver. But this version with the mechs is a lot more reliant on board control, which I think against the Shaman is pretty difficult to seize a lot of the time. Their mid game is way too powerful for what this kind of a Invoke Galakron deck should be able to do.
Well, here we go. Final game of the day. I don't know what to expect here, Derek. I think both of these teams are truly deserving of being in our top 4.
I'd absolutely agree with you. We haven't got to see any of Shakti today, have we? It's just been
That's true.
the cam
Yeah.
only on Arena.
I believe in the rules this year, there's no obligation for both players to play. If they want
Yeah.
to, one player can play all of the games, they can split them, they can do it however they want.
Yes. Obviously, he'll still be on the call,
Yes.
helping Arena with decisions, but just not getting to see his face on camera.
And you know, Arena got a relatively strong start this game, able to come out with the Ursatron, but unfortunately for him, that Goblin Lackey will be able to allow Glory to very easily clear up the Ursatron.
I hope you like my invention.
Or the Earthshock, that's even better.
Yeah,
Earthshock's really valuable in this matchup, though.
Oh, actually, do you save that? Yeah, because you've got to remember, mechs stack pretty big in this matchup. So just being able to catch them off surprise like that, or get a replicating menace, something like that.
I
think I actually do like giving them the extra card draw here.
Even using it on Snip Snap isn't bad, but again, like something with a War Gear on top, just Earthshock it.
Oh, insane. Insane.
So Glory can deal with the entire board, but it does mean losing most of his board. He can still have the 2-1 alive. Mogu was an option that turn, not the strongest Mogu we'd ever have seen, but honestly, I think invoking as quickly as possible is a great idea with that Dragon Pack in hand.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's one of the main things that I think they did do exactly right with the nerfs. It's just that Dragon Pack is so much less likely to come down on 5 now, or even 6, given that a Corrupted Elementalist has taken the hit.
I wonder.
So what are we looking at as the best possible plays? I suppose that... Yeah, I was going to say that Explodinator looks like the best kind of baseline mech to throw down this turn, because it obviously gives you the boom bots as well. Or Goblin Bomb, sorry, that can be magnetized onto. But this play, of course, gets the most amount of mech reduction of mana right at the start of the game, and it still puts a decent body on the board. So I think having seen it a little bit more, I like that he goes for this play, and then on turn 6, we can see a double 4-drop coming down.
I wonder.
It's really interesting balance at this point for Glory. Sorry to cut you off there.
No, yeah, it is, but it just looks like he's got complete control of the game. Like
it does.
Just looking a few turns forwards, it's just the pure strength of this deck.
Yeah, if you're not being steamrolled at the start, or if you don't have extremely powerful board clears time after time, the Shaman just can't really be beaten.
And now Narina on 5 mana. The strongest thing he can do is just plonk a 5/5 on the board, or plonk a 3/2 with some Goblin Bombs.
Sounds blooming awful.
Yeah, War Gear on top of one of these at some point, great, but Dragon's Pack not quite playable with Mogu this turn, but Glory is so close to getting those power plays.
Again, one of the other things I'm realizing is that I know it's a very, very small sample size, so I shouldn't take too much stock in it, but it feels like Gobo Glide tech is really hard to get down on curve. Like, there's not that many turn 2 sticky mechs that you're throwing down. Like the best you have is Venomizer, I guess, or hoping that one of your Mecharoos will be able to stick around for a couple of turns. Because when it doesn't come down on curve, it's really not that oppressively powerful. Like, I don't know, it seems crazy to say, but in modern Hearthstone, like a 3-mana 4/4 rush it's not that good. It's not enough to build a deck around anymore.
Which is absurd.
Yeah, it's powerful. Like, if there was just a vanilla 3-mana 4/4, I'd put it probably in most of my decks, but when you have to make so many omissions by putting in these bad mech cards, it feels a lot less worth it.
Oh god, so what are we looking at here? It's everything just feels under par.
Yeah, I guess replicating Menace and then trading in to take out one of them is pretty good, and then just Gobbo
fine.
because you can.
Quickly.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. The value trade survives. As we can see, Earthshock would just dismiss it immediately, as would the 2/1 Elemental from the Shield of Galakrond.
Yep.
I think today has been a great demonstration of why this deck had to be nerfed. Just
That's a
all
good
of the
point.
pieces are just too powerful, and when you put them together,
Oi, oi, oi.
this is what happens.
Insane. Yeah, this means Galakrond is playable as the fully invoked version on the following turn.
Bogu comes out. Did you like having a
Illegal.
board in Arena? Did you?
Yeah. And then in addition to all this, there's obviously the most powerful card in the game at the moment, pretty much, in terms of the turn you play it in Galakrond that can come down next turn. I am seeing basically no avenue to victory now for Narina, except for a Venomizer off the top to go in combination with this missile launcher. And even then he has to not die this turn, which
Yeah,
he
Glory's
is
one off lethal with Galakrond,
one
I
off
believe.
lethal, yeah. He can't even wipe that much damage off the board. Like, the only way he can actually wipe any damage off the board is with the missile launcher, which then completely sabotages his only game plan, I think.
Just like flying a rocket.
Does not feel good.
I wonder.
So, yeah. I'd be very surprised if we didn't see Galakrond this turn. Azeroth's end.
Yeah, you want to put it in a situation where even if they have the missile launcher plus Venomizer, they are just dead on the following turn, which is exactly what Glory is doing here.
Absolutely. In fact, won't the missile itself kill Narina? Yeah, it will.
Yes.
So, yeah, missile launcher is unplayable. And I just freeze that for good measure. Why not? And that Earthshock wasn't ever even used. The freeze on the replicating menace actually matters now because of the Zilliax draw.
Yeah, that's true actually.
There you go. Narina gives it up. And it's Japan heading in to the top 4 of the Hearthstone Global Games as our second winner of Group A.
Yeah, commiserations to New Zealand and Chinese Taipei. They fought a very, very strong battle there, but it does eventually just go down to Japan. I think that New Zealand had a pretty strong game plan. You know, like that you were saying, their idea to target the Holy Wrath Paladin was a bold one, but it unfortunately didn't quite work out. And in the end, it feels like the in a meta with as powerful decks as Death Rattle Rogue and the Galakrond Shaman, just going level 1. What are the best decks? What are the best optimizations of those to beat my opponents is the best way to go, and that's exactly what we saw.
Shall we take one last look at the bracket once again and have a little recap of what happened? Well, there you have it. Hong Kong and Japan have qualified from Playoffs Group A, and as you said, commiserations to Chinese Taipei and to New Zealand, who weren't quite able to make it through this bracket, but they did top 8. You know, they definitely did a fantastic job getting this far in such a tough tournament. But yeah, any last words on this group, Derek?
Yeah, it was absolutely the best in the world that they conquered to get here, so it's no mean feat to get to it at this point as well. But I think, you know, given that we were guaranteed 2 Asia Pacific and 2 European players through to our finals after we seeded our top 8, I think they've got some strong representatives in Hong Kong and Japan going through. But take a look at, here we go, Playoffs B, our next group that we're going to be playing out tomorrow, the European group here. I think seeded, as Dorinda was saying, mainly just for time zone issues as opposed to anything else, with Norway, Czech Republic, United Kingdom and Denmark. I don't want to throw any shade at Playoffs Bracket A, but this group is absolutely absurd.
Yep. It is. I cannot wait to watch these games go down. I mean, I had a quick run through of why all of these teams are so great this morning with Lorinda. I'm not going to do that again. Maybe we'll save it for tomorrow. But oh man, tomorrow is going to be a good one.
Indeed. I am in particular looking forward to Norway versus United Kingdom. Obviously, I am a fan of the United Kingdom, being that is my home country, but Norway as well, just undeniably one of the best, if not the best country in Hearthstone in the world, given they have Hunter's, are now former world champion for the HCT circuit last year. Yeah, as well as NTR as well, who is no slouch, despite the fact that he gets somewhat overlooked. I think the entire bracket is going to be a great one to watch tomorrow.
All right, everyone. Well, that is us finished for today, but you know where to find us tomorrow, and you know what to expect. An amazing group in order to decide who our final 2 teams will be, and then Sunday, the top 4 of the Hearthstone Global Games 2019. Hope you have a wonderful night, and we will see you again tomorrow, same time, same place.